Over 1 billion customers served every single day. More than 40,000 locations in over 100 countries. A brand so recognizable that studies suggest Ronald McDonald is the second most identifiable figure on the planet after Santa Claus. But behind those golden arches is a story they don't put on the menu. The story of a 79-year-old woman left with third-degree burns while $1 billion corporation offered her $800 and walked away. Of a security guard who quietly rigged the biggest prize game in fast food history and stole $24 million without anyone noticing for over a decade. Of workers forced into 25-hour shifts, threatened with deportation, and housed in their boss's basement. McDonald's isn't just the world's most famous restaurant. It's arguably the world's most sued one too. This is the dark side of the golden arches. And once you know it, you'll never look at those arches quite the same way again.
An 81-year-old woman has been awarded $2.9 million after she sued McDonald's.
It's February 1992. Stella Liebeck is 79 years old. She pulls through a McDonald's drive-thru in Albuquerque, New Mexico with her grandson and orders a 49-cent cup of coffee. Her grandson parks the car so she can add her cream and sugar. The car has no cup holders, so she holds the cup between her knees to peel back the lid. The coffee spills. What happened next is one of the most misrepresented stories in legal history, because almost everything you've been told about this case is wrong. The coffee was served at between 180 and 190 degrees Fahrenheit.
I was not in it for the money. I was in it because I wanted to bring the temperature down.
Hot enough to cause third-degree burns in under 3 seconds. Stella didn't suffer a minor scald. She spent 8 days in the hospital. She underwent skin grafting surgery. She lost 20 pounds during her recovery, nearly 20% of her body weight, dropping to just 83 pounds. 2 years of medical treatment followed. She didn't want to sue. She just wanted McDonald's to cover her medical bills, around $10,500. She asked for $20,000 in total. McDonald's responded with an offer of $800. But here's the part that turned this case from a personal tragedy into a landmark lawsuit. During the trial, Stella's attorneys uncovered something McDonald's had buried in its own internal records. The company had received more than 700 complaints of burns from its coffee in the decade before Stella's injury. Some involved children, some involved third-degree burns. McDonald's knew, and it did nothing. The jury was furious. They awarded Stella $200,000 in compensatory damages, reduced to $160,000 because she was found 20% at fault, plus $2.7 million in punitive damages, calculated as roughly 2 days of McDonald's coffee revenue. The judge later reduced the punitive award to $480,000. The case settled confidentially before appeal. McDonald's then spent years and millions of dollars funding a public relations campaign to paint Stella as a greedy woman who spilled her own coffee and cashed in. It worked. The case became a cultural punchline. The phrase frivolous lawsuit entered the mainstream largely because of how McDonald's reframed this story. Stella Liebeck died in 2004. She never received the $2.7 million figure that became permanently attached to her name. What she actually received remains sealed. Now, if the coffee case was McDonald's biggest PR disaster, what happened next was something closer to a heist film. In 1987, McDonald's launched one of the most beloved promotions in fast food history. Its Monopoly game. Customers peeled back stickers on their fries and drinks, collected properties, and could win prizes ranging from free food all the way up to $1 million in cash. By the mid-1990s, the stakes had grown enormous, and overseeing the security of those winning game pieces was a man named Jerome Jacobson, known to his friends as Uncle Jerry. Uncle Jerry's job was to make sure no one stole the winning pieces. The irony was almost poetic, because starting in 1989, Uncle Jerry was the one stealing them. Jacobson had figured out a flaw in the system. A supplier had accidentally mailed him a full sheet of anti-tamper seals, the very seals used to secure the winning pieces. With those seals in hand, he could remove the rarest winning stickers, hand them to people he knew, and reseal the packaging without anyone noticing. He started small, giving pieces to friends and family, but before long he was selling them to organized crime. He connected with a member of the Colombo crime family who recruited a network of fake winners across the country, splitting the cash with Jacobson after collecting their prizes. For over a decade, virtually every major prize in the McDonald's Monopoly game, every $1 million winner, every car, every large cash prize, went to Jacobson's network. The scheme ran from 1989 to 2001. In total, more than 50 people were convicted. The stolen prize value exceeded $24 million. The FBI only cracked it after an anonymous tip in 2000 fingered someone called Uncle Jerry. Investigators noticed that almost every major winner lived within 25 miles of Jacobson's South Carolina lake house. To catch the fake winners in the act, the FBI staged an entire fake television commercial, and the fraudsters walked straight into it. Jacobson pleaded guilty to mail fraud and served 3 years in federal prison. His trial began on September 10th, 2001. The next day, the September 11th attacks happened, and the story all but disappeared from the news. McDonald's launched a $10 million instant cash giveaway to compensate genuine customers, quietly settled its lawsuit with the promotions company for $16.6 million, and the Monopoly game. It vanished from US stores for nearly a decade. Before we go further, if you're finding this valuable, the best thing you can do right now is hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Which of these scandals genuinely shocked you the most? In 1990, McDonald's made what many legal observers would later call the single worst PR decision in corporate history. A small activist group called London Greenpeace had been distributing a leaflet titled, "What's Wrong with McDonald's?" It made sweeping claims about the company's environmental record, its food quality, and its labor practices. Most of the people handing out these leaflets were ordinary citizens. Two of them, Helen Steele and Dave Morris, were unemployed and had virtually no money. McDonald's sued them for defamation. The trial ran for nearly 3 years, the longest trial in English legal history at the time. McDonald's spent over £10 million on its legal team. Steele and Morris spent around £30,000. In 1997, the judge ruled partially in McDonald's favor, but also found that the company had, in fact, exploited children in its advertising, paid low wages, and was genuinely responsible for some environmental damage. McDonald's had sued 2 people for calling it a low-wage corporation, and the court agreed that the claim was substantially true. The story didn't end there. Steele and Morris took the British government to the European Court of Human Rights, arguing they had been denied a fair trial because they couldn't access legal aid. In 2005, the European Court ruled in their favor. McDonald's never collected the £40,000 in damages the original court had awarded them. The leaflet, meanwhile, had become the most downloaded document on the early internet. McDonald's has survived all of it. The lawsuits, the scandals, the strikes, the headlines. It remains one of the most profitable corporations in human history, serving billions of meals every week. But the story of how it got there, and what it did along the way, is not the story the company wants you to think about when you see those arches. Stella Liebeck was offered $800 for 8 days in hospital and 2 years of recovery. 300 miners worked illegally in its kitchens. A security officer spent a decade stealing from its own customers. And 2 people with no money forced one of the richest companies on earth to a draw in front of the European Court of Human Rights. Some of these scandals changed laws, some changed nothing at all. But they all raise the same question. How much does the brand in front of you actually reflect what happens behind the counter? If this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know before, that's what this channel is here for. Subscribe if you haven't already, share it with someone who thinks they know the McDonald's story, and I'll see you in the next one.